First of all, I think your analysis was very straight line. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing funds.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charandas Prasad, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go along that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got nothing.
Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Tomorrow, Taylor. That's good. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
Yes,
but an erratic detective, is Mikhail Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Kingdom, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hi there, welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show with co-host Leonard Craig. Mr. Craig was unable to make it because of a medical emergency. We have in our studio this evening the most talked about ministry in Guyana. If you think it's finance or education, then you're wrong. The most talked about ministry anywhere you go in this country the past 2 years is the Ministry of Public Works. That's because everywhere you turn, you see the manifestation, which is ubiquitous, of the works that the Ministry of Public Works is doing, and it's not without its controversy. Here we have this evening in our studio is the Senior Minister of Public Works, who is gracing our studio for the second time. Minister Juan Edghill, Bishop Juan Edghill. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You're a no-nonsense man, I know that.
Thank you, Freddie, and good afternoon, or greetings to your viewers, whatever time zone they're on.
I think people would be expecting, most of our viewers, about what's going on with infrastructure. We will talk about infrastructure, but I'd also like to examine your political mind. You're a practicing politician, you sit in parliament, you're a minister of the government. The government is derived from the leadership of the ruling party. So let's start with infrastructure. Can you tell us at what stage is the expected link between Suriname and Guyana, the bridge link? So one can just hop in one's car and don't have to wait on a ferry.
Thanks for asking, Freddie. The Quarantine River Bridge, we have completed everything as relates to the design, the studies, as well as the procurement process. As we sit here, resident in both capitals, Georgetown and in Paramaribo, is the report of our evaluation committees, individually and jointly, because remember, there's a joint project between Guyana and Suriname. All that is required now is for the governments to agree on the financing and the terms of financing. As it relates to the Guyana side, we are ready, willing, and able. Suriname has had some challenges because of their own economic situations, how they can have access to funding, and that conversation continues. Once funding is finalized, the preferred contractor, which is already selected, Or if that preferred contractor is unable to continue, the next preferred bidder and the bridge would be built. It's going to be a bridge that is built in two parts. You know, there's an island that is called Long Island. We would probably say Long Island, but in Suriname they say Long Island. And there are two sections of the bridge. A road from South Drain that comes to the island. Then there's a road through the island, and then you move that from that end of the island all the way to El Dorado, which is where we are building the road from Molson Creek going into El Dorado, which will be the abutment of the road. So the governments have agreed through the strategic dialogue platform that exists, between President Ali and President Santoki. The ministerial teams have been established, the technical teams have been established. We've gone out for the consultancies for the design, we have gotten the proposals, we've got the evaluation. The only thing is to agree on the financing. And like I said, Guyana is ready. We're willing, able, we have access. Suriname have had some challenges that, you know, it would be an improper thing for me as a public figure to be discussing the challenges of another sovereign state. So I would just say Suriname have had some challenges. We're walking through that. We're waiting on them, and we're ready to go.
If their problem persists, then the bridge will have to wait.
Well, definitely, because it's a joint project. Or there will have to be some agreement between Guyana and Suriname how Guyana could proceed while Suriname gets its house in order, so to speak.
There isn't a foreign government dimension to it in terms of billing, financing the bridge. No. Isn't there a Chinese dimension to it?
The preferred contractor that has been identified is not tied specifically to monies coming from a particular way. But like we would have said in the media before, both Guyana and Suriname jointly, both presidents have written the Chinese government approaching them for financing for the building of the bridge.
And you don't want to comment on what stage that is at?
Well, we are ready. Like I said, I can speak definitively for Guyana. Suriname, because they got their own structural adjustment programs and what's happening with the IMF and all the rest of it, and I think we should not go into that because as a sovereign state, state, and I could only just peripherally say that we have some challenges. They have to work out how their borrowing or accessing funding fits into their strategic program that they are presently in with the IMF and the rest of it. But as a country, Guyana, there was a time when we had those challenges. But I think we are now in a better place and we're ready to go. So we are waiting on them to work through that. I believe that President Santoki and President Ali has been speaking about it. Foreign Minister of Suriname and the Foreign Minister of Guyana have been in conversations. The Minister of Finance of Guyana and the Minister of Finance of Suriname have been in conversations. Minister of Public Works, which is myself and the Minister of Public Works, Mr. Riyad Nur Mohammed of Suriname, we've been talking. We're just waiting on clearances as it relates to all of the approvals, the agreements, as it relates to financing on that joint approach that was made, Government of Guyana and Government of Suriname jointly.
Will it be a replica of the Demerara Bridge? Is the same design?
No. The section from Guyana, El Dorado to the island, because that's not where the channel is. That will be more a flat bridge, like a causeway. The section from the island going to South Drain will have to carry a high rise to facilitate the downstream development of the waterfront for Suriname, because that's where the channel is. So it's going to be a flat, one section, basically a causeway flat, and the other section would have to be an elevated section with height to facilitate the passage of ships to get down the river to deal with Suriname.
So there's no closing and opening?
No closing and opening. The days of building bridges, of closing on them is long gone. We are out right now at the procurement stage for the building of a high-span bridge across the Burbage River, which will eliminate closing and opening for boats and shutting off to vehicular traffic. Similarly, like what we are doing at the new Demerara River crossing.
What's your time span for the Burbage Bridge?
We are now at the stage of request for proposals. And once we have the technical qualifications and we see what the proposals, a bridge like that will take 2 years, minimum. 2 years is an average time for the construction of a bridge, and sometimes it could be a little bit more, but I would say within 2 years we want to be able to get that going. So we're looking at the proposals when they come in, and we'll be able to, and the president, I'm sure, will be able to address and make any pronouncements in the future. But the whole country is aware. We have gone out publicly, inviting every firm or construction company that is interested to put in their proposal for the design and the build of the Burbage Bridge.
Why was the Demerara Bridge, will it still be called the Demerara Harbour Bridge?
Well, right now, in terms of the project, we refer to it as a new Demerara River Bridge. The new Demerara
River Bridge.
Yes. NDRB.
NDRB. New
So I don't know.
But Demerara Harbour Bridge.
I don't know what, at the time of its completion and its opening, if the president may name it, or we just continue with what the project name is. That's out there in the open.
Why was it put so near to the original bridge in Peters Hall?
It is the most suitable alignment. When we study all of the various options, the most suitable alignment. We could build a bridge anywhere, but apart from building it and acquisition of property for the building, you got to look at where the network is. Now, that bridge, once it gets over, it is connecting smoothly with the entire Schoonard area with a roundabout. You can go west bank, you could go down to Greenhoop, or you can take the bypass roads that have been built and head out to the west coast. So it's the connectivity on this side when it comes through Peters Hall. There are another 2 kilometers of road that will move from the abutment, that will connect to Heroes Highway, that will connect to all of the roads that are built out there by Windsor Castle. So you could go north, you could go south, you can head straight to the road that is being built with the funding from India, which is the Ogle Eccles bypass. So the alignment of the bridge and its connectivity to the entire transport infrastructure network that is being built out in modern Guyana now, it is linked. It's not just we're putting a bridge here, we're putting a bridge there. It is heavily linked. And the fact of the matter is that bridge is 70% complete. So
the 30% will take us to what, 2025?
We should be completed by the end of March 2025. As a matter of fact, had it not been for some of the challenges that we have faced, all of which I would not name here, but mainly the main challenge would have been with shipping, with what was happening around the world, which we don't need to repeat. Everybody knew the Panama Canal basically went dry. We had to take longer routes, access costs and everything went up. And getting the competence here, because our engineers, along with the consultants from Polytechnical, had to travel to the factories in China to inspect the quality of the material and to approve them before shipping. And now that we're here, what is happening is that the entire structure is going to be ready within a couple of months. We've had some land acquisitions and property acquisitions that we had to deal with in the Peters Hall area between the public road and the riverfront. We are getting set to move with haste in that area as fast as we clear them. We have had some challenges there because we had some people who signed agreements and agreed to their compensation package. And then we've had some persons who did not agree. And as a result of that, we had to go to court to get a judge to determine what is the right package in terms of settlement. Because, the Constitution says Now, we can acquire property for public good, but we must pay fair market value. So if there's an argument between Freddie and Edghill about what is the price that needs to be paid, and I'm offering one thing and you saying you want something else, then we have to get an arbiter of some competency, which is the legal framework, to go through all that is required and then make those awards. That has largely been done. We have the majority of that out of the way. The last couple of things are going to be resolved, and we have a free right away to get the bridge going. You would pass and you will see the towers for the high span. That's where the cable stay section will be installed. They are climbing it. It's going to be up to 55 meters high. So the high point of the bridge is going to be as high as the Marriott Hotel. That's just to give you an understanding of the height.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
I got to be Bishop, one of the romantic memories I have with my wife is we used to walk in the night on the old Harbor Bridge. There was a pedestrian thing there, and the moon is overlooking you. We did that many, many nights. It was really a romantic experience. Does the new bridge have that you can walk?
The new bridge is going to be 4 lanes. That's the first thing. So the new bridge is much wider.
But you have that walkway for pedestrians?
We will have access for cycles, for pedestrians, as well as a utility corridor. So
what's a utility corridor?
Like, for example, we have the fiber optic cable that is buried on the bed of the Demerara River. Every now and again, a ship passes and scrapes that, and it is cut. And then there's disconnect between the movement of electricity and the communication of the various substations. So in the bridge, there would also be a corridor where you could put your transmission lines, your fiber optic cable.
Okay.
It's a significant improvement of what is there.
So my wife and I can still walk and look at the moon on the bridge.
And you don't have to wait on the bridge. I prepared a seawall for you with all of the necessary amenities that you can get out there and look at the moon. I mean, it's a far more comforting environment. You don't have to be in the midst of traffic and heavy noise. It's far more romantic. And it provides you with the opportunity that you could go to any one of the franchise holders that are out there and buy your cocktail or get your finger foods, or if you want to walk with your dog, you can just go all the way down to the back of the Marriott. We have developed that whole beachfront. You know, sometimes people don't remember how things used to be because things have happened so fast.
I remember.
But the back of the Marriott is one of the most used facilities right now in Georgetown. People actually see the people on the seawall between Kitty Roundabout to Camp Street because they drive and they see people out there. Yeah. But when you go down to the back of the Marriott, any day of the week, weekends,
I go there all the time.
And then we have the jetty that is going all the way out. Quite recently, President has asked that we improve the safety measures there because, you know, we have the rails. People go out there to fish. Yeah. And we want to
A man took over. A man's been living in one of those benches for the past 6 months. Cover the bench and sleeping there.
Well, we still have to do a lot more in Guyana about dealing with mental health and how families relate to people who are having mental health issues, how the state respond to people with mental health issues. It's a real problem that we have. We can't run away from it. And I use the term mental health because some of those are not just mad people or rogues or, you know, people like to say junkies and all the rest of it. I'm not going to go into those issues in that kind of description. But people can be helped, rehabilitated, reformed, fit back into families and get on with their social life. So the whole jetty, which is, we call it the groin, but people call it the old jetty. People walk out there to go fishing and any other day you could see some grown men, like recreational fishing, I guess.
I know that place at the back of my hand. I was there up to last night.
You was there up to last night.
So I will be there this evening.
So
it's just stuck in me. I'm there with my dog.
Okay.
If you want to find me anytime,
I don't want to find you, Freddie.
If you want to find me anytime between 5 and 7,
you're advertising for somebody else who want to find you.
You call my phone and I'll be there.
But just to let you know, you use that place a lot.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're seeking to do is to ensure that the kids, if they go on the jetty, they don't have to fall into the river. So we put it in some infrastructure. You know, we got the rails.
Yeah, I know.
So we don't want to block it from people falling, you know, kids leaning and falling over, make it a little more safe, because it is now heavily used. Heavily used.
Yeah, I know. We did a couple programs in it. So what's going to happen to the old bridge? I know we kept the Demerara, the old Demerara bridge is there for people to see as part of history. What's going to happen? That bridge is going to stay there?
I don't believe so.
You're going to move it?
There is no need for that bridge once the new Demerara River Bridge is completed. That is a floating bridge. It's on pontoons. It can easily be disassembled and taken to other places. Not the entire thing would be required every place. There are options that have been, and I don't want to pronounce definitively for anybody to say Bishop Edghill says the old Demerara Bridge is going here, is going there. But there are options on the table that we're looking at to bridge Leg 1 and Wakenham. Maybe putting some of that to link Kokwani waterfront with Jeep Landing. So the pontoon that when you drive in, you go up to the Jeep Landing, you got to wait on the pontoon. There's also a possibility because, you know, we built the road all the way from the eastern highway at Quarantine, number 58. We've built the road heading in so that we could be able to open more lands. One of the places where lands are more available for agriculture right now is across the Kanji Creek. So maybe at a few sections could cross that Kanji Creek. That's just my thinking. We still got a Kuripakari to look at. Maybe we may want to build up a concrete bridge at the Kuripakari to join into the Linden Mabura and the Linden Letem Road to make that crossing a 24-hour crossing as against just moving in the hours of daylight. So there are lots of things that we are looking at. But of course, that collective decision will be made. But our task right now is twofold: ensuring the operation and safe use of the Demerara Harbor Bridge as we know it, because one day without it, we know what happens in Guyana. Yeah. And secondly, getting the new bridge completed. Once the new bridge is completed, the decisions about where we take the old bridge will be done. And then, of course, you would see alongside the new bridge that is being built, there's a steel bridge which they are using as a platform. So what do we do with that steel bridge? Because they built a temporary bridge out of steel. And it is that platform that is taking all the trucks with all the tonnage and the cranes and everything to build the concrete bridge. So we still have that bridge at the steel structure. So there are a lot of possibilities, and I would prefer that there will be a holistic discussion, and the technical people will say what is best to use there in terms of our long-term value. But certainly we'll make good use of the components that are there, ultimately to bring benefit, easier access, reducing travel time, improving the lives of people, ensuring that cost of transportation, both in terms of time and money, is reduced, because time is an important element in transport costs. Somebody who was living at Tushin and working in Georgetown, 5:30 in the morning, they're up to get a crossing by 7 o'clock to go to work at 8 o'clock. With a bridge that is open, toll-free, you don't have to stop to pay tolls, traffic going any hours, 4 lanes. You can leave at 7 and you will be in Georgetown before 7:45, because we reduce the cost, and people will be able to see those 2 hours that you had to leave home earlier, or the 2 hours that you get home later at night, could be put in the productive use. A little gardening here, more time with the school children to do their homework, family spending more time together. So you reduce the time.
Walking on the bridge with your wife. And the moon.
And the moon.
The moon as a canopy.
But the people all the way out of Tushin don't have to come to the bridge. Just like you could go to the seawall. Yeah. You would have seen the First Lady's development projects that we have done on the West Coast. So you could go to the seawall, enjoy the good breeze, sit in the park, look at the moon like Freddie's looking at it from the east side, they could also look at it on the west side. And we've also done...
Which side you will look at it?
From both sides. From both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
Because,
I did a column from both sides now.
We are building things out with the First Lady, whether it's in Region 3, or Region 4, Region 6. We want to be able to do some waterfront development as well in Region 10. So lots of things are happening across the country. And, you know, green spaces, Freddie, and perhaps you're a good writer and a good researcher. You should probably help the Guyanese people to understand and appreciate as a society grows, people become more intense with their work. More people are studying. The outlet for spaces for recreation and relaxation become in greater demand, because you can't just be choked into what you do. You have to find outlets. And not everybody wants to go and drink or smoke or go to a bar. People just need green spaces, let the kids play. You come out with your dog, people hold their hands of their spouse and just reminisce and discuss some of the things they've been talking about.
Sound romantic?
Yes, it's very romantic. And why? All of us should be romantic. Why shouldn't we?
I know I am.
I am too, sir.
Okay.
I'm not advertising for anything, though, but maybe you are, but I'm just saying that I am.
I've been married for 47 years.
Well, I'm a 38.
I'm madly in love with the lady I married 47 years ago.
I'm 38, so you help me.
Yeah, let's mix it up. We're going to come back to the airport, and we're going to come back to the huge discussion that is ubiquitous in Guyana, the infrastructural things that are going on all over the place. Let's mix it up. Let's talk about politics. There's a year before we go into election, and I keep saying a year, though some people believe it could be before November, although the Vice President has said that the PPP's term will last to November. What are the configurations that you see as we go into an election year? There is a new leadership of the Alliance for Change, Nigel Hughes. Dominic Gaskin, the former president's brother-in-law, sat in that very seat, son-in-law sat in that very seat you're sitting on, and he said, the PPP will win the elections, but he thinks AFC will get about 5 seats. The leader of the new and United Guyana, ANU, Timothy Jonas, say they're hoping for about 4 seats. That's 9 so far gone to AFC ANU. You agree with that?
I will tell you what is our perspective. The PPPC came into government in 2020 after all of the struggles we've had with a 5-month period of waiting for people to accept that the PPP won the elections and the recount and everything. And we went into government with a clear understanding that we're there to serve all the people of Guyana. And I can say, sitting here, Freddie, we have done that, and we are doing that. The investments, the delivery of goods and services to people in regions and in villages, that where the ballot box result did not reflect support for the PPPC, anybody could do the analysis. Talk about Linden. Just yesterday, I was on a radio program in Linden, updating people of some of the developments that we're going to be making in Linden, and I challenge them. Now, what we are doing in Linden in 1 year is more than the APNU AFC did in their stronghold in Linden for 5 years. The sheer scope, volume of what is happening. You know, oppositions are there, and you're an advocate of having strong oppositions. I've heard you in several times and so on. But the PPPC administration went into Melanie Danishana and did all their roads that was neglected for how long? Don't you think people would see that and appreciate that? Look at what's happening in Georgetown, being led by the vice president, who's also the general secretary of the PPP. All Boys Town, every road in All Boys Town, Charlestown, Lodge, your own area.
I'm from Wortmanville.
Wortmanville, yeah. Work and Rust,
yeah.
Rassville, Roxanne Burnham Gardens, East Rongveld, West Rongveld, Isla Penitence. The people every day are seeing a government that they did not vote for in their community, preventing them from flooding by ensuring we improve the drainage, and in many instances, hiring people from the area to actually do the work. They are seeing the Ministry's Special Projects Unit in their area, working to improve their roads, putting things in order. And they're saying, but we didn't vote for this government. The people who live along Independence Boulevard, an area that you are also very, very, very familiar with, would have seen the transformation that has taken place along that entire corridor. They know that the price for their property, the value of their property have skyrocketed. It's now in great demand. They don't have to go to the seawall. They could come out right in there. Their benches are there. The kids are there. The senior citizen could come out and relax. Every Sunday afternoon, Independence Boulevard is just like what's happening on the seawall. Monday is a big cleanup time because everybody's out there, the barbecues, there's the trampolines. In the south of Georgetown, the people of South Wrongville have seen the development that is taking place with seeking to solve their drainage projects, their drainage problems. NDIA is at the back there working all the time. The president himself has gone in to get what needs to be done. We're engaging the people in those communities. You want us to go to Berbice, New Amsterdam, just the other day with the contracts that we have signed in the Berbice area. New Amsterdam took the hug, as we would say in Guyanese colloquial language, took the hug of what is happening. New Amsterdam is being fixed. The roads are being rehabilitated. That's an area that did not support the results of the 2020 election. Don't show large-scale support for the PPP. We did better the local government's election. You go to Bartica, and it's the same thing. And then, of course, you go to all the other regions that traditionally support the PPPC, and where we have control in terms of within the majority, we have the regional chairman, we have the control of the regional council, development taken in every area. So the AFC will walk on a concrete road in Crabwood Creek, where they could not have gone before because it was all mud, up to the thigh, past the knee, sometimes to the thigh. And they will put a fly at somebody's house and says, vote for the AFC because the PPPC didn't do nothing for you. And the people would believe them. So the man in Christiansburg who's campaigning, whether it's Mr. Norton or whoever, will walk in Christiansburg on a road that was paved and built by the PPPC, and he will tell the people, y'all got to come out and vote and support us because the PPP for 5 years didn't do nothing for you. And he's walking on the road that was built by the PPPCs in office. So you're going to go and tell the young people in Linden, you're unemployed and you don't have jobs. And the people are there interfacing, doing the training, getting into the call centers, doing their work. People have been trained as heavy duty operators. You got 2,000 plus people who have been employed in the part-time job. Across the country, more than 15,000 people who didn't have an income before are getting an income on the part-time job. And then you'll have the likes of Nigel Hughes and others when they say, well, we got to get here finale out. We got to come in and run this thing. Better must come, and all the rest of it. And all that, you're laughing, Freddie, because the reality is, we're going to tell these people, President Ali, with all the criticisms people might have of him, the man has delivered.
Yes, he has.
The PPPC, the PPPC went to office with a manifesto that we told the people while we were campaigning, this is our manifesto. Once we were elected, we said this is our social contract. And we've been following it, ticking the boxes. Every promise we have made, have we fulfilled it? Have we done what we said we will do? We said we will give 20,000 scholarships. You know where we are in terms of goal? 29,000. So what people are going to say, I couldn't afford to get my master's degree, but the PPPC government engaged universities around the world, paid for it, and I now have my master's degree. People are going to be looking. No, I'm not referring to myself personally. I've long gone past that stage.
No, that's why I asked.
So the young people are going to be there. You think about it, teachers across this country, if they're going to be trained as a trained teacher to deliver education in the classroom, used to have to leave Maruka, come and go to college in Turkine. Families had to be displaced for 2 years, in some cases 3 years, depending what you were doing. Now, all the teachers across this country are being trained because the entire teachers training program is online. And I'm not just talking the teaching, the curriculum, the books and everything is now online. I think there's going to be a graduation of teachers next week or something like that. It have to be held at the National Stadium. It's going to be thousands, the volume of teachers that are trained. So somebody's going to say, they didn't do nothing for teachers. And all the young people, all the people from the riverine areas, the people who go for medical attention in the 240-something villages across the length and breadth of Guyana, they used to go and find a community health worker or some cases of medics. We have been able to improve that in our last dispensation to putting in doctors. When you go there now, you're not only meeting a doctor, but through telemedicine, you can engage a consultant at Mount Sinai or in India. Your problem being diagnosed right in the village through telemedicine. No, Mr. Hughes and Mr. Norton and their merry band will go and tell the government do anything for you, and people will believe them. We don't believe that people should vote just because of their ethnicity or where they live. People must vote because the government delivered for them. Our traditional base will continue to support us because we delivered for them. The opposition base is being eroded because in spite of, we have gone in there and delivered for them, whether it's in health, education, better water, recreational grounds. Right now in Georgetown, Minister Charles Ramson is having an aggressive program fixing all of the grounds in Georgetown. I think it's 30-something grounds like that is undergoing transformation. You're going to go and kick the football with them boys and tell them that the PPP ain't do nothing for you, and they're seeing what's going on. The grounds that were not fenced, the bridge is better, the toilet facilities is better, floodlights to play in the night. And we didn't do anything. So
I think
this is
a pre-election delivery.
No, we're just having a conversation. the delivery of services to the communities across this country. Where we can go in the interior and tell Amerindians, get out here for Nali and Jagdio, get rid of them. They didn't do nothing for you. We, the PPPC, has empowered Amerindian communities since we were in office 2020 in a manner that has never happened before. Besides the presidential grant, besides the Amerindian Development Fund. Now, from the sale of our carbon credits, 15% of what we get is going to those villages. They're buying their own tractors, they're buying their own backhoes, they're buying their own skidders to do their economic activities. In their bank account, they're getting 35 million from that fund through the sale of forest credits. And you won't tell the Tushels and his people, the government do anything for you. They don't just sit down and listen. And when the time comes, people of Guyana will do what is right. We earn the right as a government because of our delivery to go back and say, we have done what we told you we will do. Give us a chance to do the next set of things that we say we will do and continue to serve, allow us to continue to serve you. The APNU, AFC will have to go and say, well, we could find fault with what Edghill did. We could find fault with Jagdio. We could find fault with President Ali. We could find fault with the Prime Minister. But they can't show what they did while they were there. So we will be standing on our record. So forget about what somebody in the diaspora want to put out hate every day. The same old narrative of racism and discrimination and all the rest of it. The other day, the university students, and that's an institution that you have a long history with, I'm sure you're happy to hear that from January, all tuition fees will be gone and all the rest
I want a reimbursement of when I pay for my
well, that's a long
I strain myself to do that.
So, we're going to tell the young people, the government didn't do anything for you. We started writing off student loans. And I've had a lot of people who are studying who've expressed concern that even though the government is doing that, somebody in the administration is telling them that if they don't pay this by this particular time, the gang will graduate in November. I don't know where that is coming from. A government that is setting a clear path of ensuring the rich man's child, the poor man's child, the rural as well as the urban, the hinterland, everybody must have access to education, everybody must have access to health, everybody must have access to affordable homes. Our delivery in the housing sector has been massive.
You haven't answered the question though.
Which one?
The 9 seats.
I don't know about
5
9 and
for
5.
5 for AFC, 4 for ANO.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm hard pressed to find the math that will accumulate numbers to support that theory. Somebody
But it
is
could be
dreaming.
9 seats taken from the PNC.
Well, maybe. Well, I am not hoping that there will be any left with the PNC for them to take from. Because with the way we are delivering, I don't know if there will be a PNC.
And you have to factor in Norton's leadership. People say he's unelectable.
Well, you know, Freddie, I leave those conversations to people who would like to excite themselves. But I believe if there's going to be a serious political party and be a serious offering yourself as a serious alternative to the current government, you must come to the table and saying, I can do better doing A, B, and C. Now, if Nigel Hughes thinks that he can do that, well, then he should resign now his engagement with Exxon. Because every day, the oil money and oil and the deal and the contract, and every day the Kaichur news is about the oil. Separate himself from the company, Exxon, and says, I'm prepared to lose income. I'm prepared to lose income in defense of the people of Guyana. Don't come and tell me if you win, then you're going to resign. You get what I'm saying? And this is a serious thing. Every one of us who have offered ourselves for political office have had to make sacrifices. We had to leave a medical practice, had to leave a legal practice, had to come into the private sector, had to give up what you were doing. And in many cases, even though people believe that ministers are handsomely paid now, what they could have been making is far more, because what we deal with is not money for ourselves, but it's service to the people. And President Ali, Vice President Jagdeo, Prime Minister Mark Phillips and the team and all the ministers, all my colleagues, throughout the length and breadth of Guyana, have shown what is service to the people. We are out there early mornings, late nights. We're in every crook and cranny, whether it's farmers, whether it's the indigenous people climbing over the mountains, going to their villages, whether it's dealing with the private sector and ensuring an enabling environment for development, whether it's dealing with teachers, whether it's dealing with members of the joint services, whether it's dealing with just the common youth, the Rasta man in the street. We are there with them.
Is the PNC at its weakest time since its birth in 1957?
It's hard for me to judge, because there was a whole period when the PNC said they were strong, but they were only strong because they were manufacturing numbers at the electoral time, so nobody know their real strength. So how could I judge weakness as against fraud? You get what I'm saying? I don't know how to judge if you're stronger now or weaker now, because at a particular time, everything that you were doing was fraudulent. And then they wanted to bring us back into that era with the Mingo fiasco. So I don't know what weaker or stronger, but I'm certainly saying the people that they have in the National Assembly to represent them at this particular time are doing a very, very poor job. You just can't sit on social media every day and talk. Your only trump card is race, 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 race. The PPP is discriminating against black people. That is not the representation, because the facts are there. We could go out and do the research, or the people of themselves can see. And of course, some of the people who supported them once have matured in their politics. And while some of them have said, I'm not going to be a PPP or I'm not going to join the PPP, but I'm going to be a nationalist, I'm going to help to develop Guyana, I'm going to make my contribution, I'm going to work with the government in ways that could help develop. A lot of their own people are doing that from different fields, and that is what is hurting them badly. I don't want to name names here because they know where that is happening. Look at the local government elections.
Yeah, the PP did well. Yeah.
Look at the local government
In
elections.
PNC areas.
Look what happened in Georgetown.
And New Amsterdam.
Look what happened in New Amsterdam. Look what happened in Linden.
We got a seat in Mocha.
Yes, but listen, we got 4,000 votes almost in Linden at the local government elections. Mm-hmm. Unheard of. We got to grow that. Look what happened in Bartica. We were able to take control of Region 8, Madhya. So, it is not because of boasting, but we got to work hard. And Freddie, the reality is, and I will say to the people of Guyana who are looking at your show, we haven't been perfect. The PP haven't been perfect. But there's one thing I can say, we're good for Guyana. Why is it only when the PPPC is in office you can see these kinds of development? Let me give an example. We left government in 2015 with monies available to buy and build a new ferry for the people of Region 1. We came back into government August.
And it wasn't built.
It wasn't built. By September, we were finalizing the deal with the Indian government for the accessing of the financing. The people of the Region 1 are seeing the ferry coming up and down. Air conditioned, Wi-Fi on board. 2 additional ferries carrying their cargo. The MV Kimby and the MV Barima. You know what's the problem? And they're booking online. Online booking. You don't have to go and line up in the sun to get on. If you get on, somebody chase you home. we have improved the service. We are going to tell the people in Region 1. What they're going to go to Kokwani and tell the people in Kokwani? Oh, the government didn't do everything for you, or the people in Aichuni, or the people in the Berbice River. The Berbice River, every stelling and landing facility, dilapidated, the school children trying to jump from treaders and all the rest of it. The government, through the Ministry of Public Works, Seine River Defense Board, are doing revetments and building back all the stellings. Where are you going to go and tell the people? They didn't do nothing for you. The people realize it's safer. They're living under better conditions.
So that's it. You are most assured that the PPP is returning. And I know...
I would not say I'm most assured. I will say the PPP, based upon its record and the nature of politics and what we will continue to do within the next 1 year, I believe we will be re-elected with a larger majority.
But that is what I wanted to probe you with. What's your margin?
A larger majority. A larger majority.
5 more seats, 6 more, 7 more?
You know, when you speak to people like me, I would be happy to say 10. But
if it's 10, then you have a 2/3 majority.
Yes, but what I'm saying, I would be happy to say 10. But I will leave that to the judgment of the people, and we're now going to beat the drums of hate and ethnic mobilization. We're going to stand on our record. We're going to show to every village, every town, this is what we have done.
They say one of their mantras is that contracts aren't being given to African Guyanese. That's straight up your alley.
Oh, man. Freddie, pictures can't lie. You know, people said that. But could somebody just come to one of our contract signings at the Ministry of Public Works and see who's there? About 30% of all of the contractors are women. Many of them Afro-Guyanese women. The amount of Afro-Guyanese males that are involved. You know, and I've been saying it, when work is being done, like for example, in Victoria, I didn't mention Victoria. We've gone into Victoria and fixed everything. The leadership of Victoria, they've come to see us. Look at Mocha. Who is doing the work? We just signed a number of contracts here in Region 4 at the Artichon Conference Center. Some of the people who are on Facebook, and I could tell you, probably you know a particular man, they call him Doggy, but I don't like referring to people by their false name. When I used to be guarding the ballot boxes at GCOM headquarters, He used to be in his nice APNU, AFC Jersey with a little fridge selling water or watching us or whatever the case. That man cursed me, tell me what a hypocrite I am. You know, all of the slanderous things, attack my religion as being a Christian, attack me for being a bishop and being with the PPP, cuss me nasty. He's signing contracts. What you going to say? And he's arguing his right. I'm entitled. And I said, yes, you will be served. You believe we took a position?
On show, man.
You believe we take a position? No, you use the PNC, man. We had an incident in Lane Avenue when the PPP was going in Lane Avenue. Some people believe that it was presumptuous. You got all these black girls from a truck going through Lane Avenue, say they campaigning. Some people were mobilized to come and beat up them girls and so on. The same girls who beat up people in Lane Avenue, they are contractors now. I don't want to call their names, but the people of Lane Avenue seeing and they're knowing. The same people that want to beat the PPP out
got contracts.
They're now contractors. They're now minding their children. Their languages change.
But that is something that the Guyanese nation should know about.
Maybe that's one of the things that we are weak.
Your PR?
And I wouldn't say it's our PR. I don't think as a government our philosophy is flaunting success and, you know, blowing your own trumpet loud and drunk it out. We believe that our works will speak for us. And perhaps as we get closer to the campaign, we'll have to do more of that and ramp it up. But people are there to see. The media's there taking interviews. What is all the people who speak to the media, the PPP pay? We're going to continue to tell Afro-Guyanese. You see the one who will get the committee get paid.
I know the Starbucks you said you got more seats in the national government election because the PPP buy paper.
Well,
Starbucks just actually said that. I didn't reply to that in one of my columns.
If giving people scholarships to study is buying people, yes, we did. If ensuring that people own their own homes is buying people, yes, we did. If ensuring more and more farmers return to the land and increase production to answer the call of reducing the Caribbean import bill by 25% by 2025 and getting more and more people involved in agriculture and providing them support, yes, then we bought. If it's getting more of our young people to develop their entrepreneurial spirit and to start small businesses and to be able to empower people who could go and buy their own car, start a taxi service, run the bus and so on. Yes. We will say yes to that. But not going in places of, I'm giving you this raise of vote to the PPP. We brought real benefits. People are saying, this government is not what we used to hear. People used to be afraid of going into Freedom House because people told us all kinds of fancy stories. If a black man go in there, they got a trap door, you know, they can disappear.
Are you serious? There was actually a rumor about that.
All those whisper campaign things. People have stepped away from that.
There's a trap door.
Sporting personalities, legal minds, educators, journalists, people of caliber and substance and opinion makers that once used to be away from the PPP. They're on board, and everybody's saying it's because of porks. Not because of porks. People are seeing real development. When a man sits down and realizes, hey, 26 senior secondary schools, 26 new secondary schools are being built to create opportunities for our children. Everybody don't have to go to QC to top the country. You could go to Abraham Zul and top the country. You could go to Anna Regina and top the country. You could go to Essequibo Island Secondary and top the country. The president made a point at the QC 80th anniversary special assembly on Monday. The teachers that are teaching at QC and teaching our children at QC, many of them didn't pass through QC.
They excelled in other schools.
That's the point that we are making. There was a time when elitism, classism was Guyana's problem. The elites are there. We have made the society more equal, that whether you are in Linden, New Amsterdam, Bath Settlement, or Bushlat, you can have the same opportunity. You could imagine, and you know the teaching thing with the smart classrooms that we're putting in. The best teacher is teaching around the country through our smart classroom systems. People are getting access to the best minds.
Let's and the operator said we have 9 minutes more.
What? And we ain't talking about infrastructure yet?
Yeah, so we're coming to that now. Every time I go to the airport, is that place going to finish?
Man, Freddie, you got to say, first of all, man, the airport is looking real good. Let me start there now. You remember how it was?
Yeah.
We got a rehab job. We got a refurbished thing. Look what has happened at the airport since 2020. We have 2 new corridors and gates to accommodate Type D and Type E aircraft. You know what we're talking about? The big planes from Qatar that land here when we had the visit could go to Gate E because we have the capacity for that. We've put in the new commercial center, which is going to be completed in a few months' time. That will have about 20 different franchises, both on the air side as well as the land side, which means access to people traveling and access to people waiting. We'll have both. With escalators, elevators in the center. We're bringing that. We're building out the new airline office buildings. We had a disappointment there with the contractor. So we had to bring that contract to an end because of underperformance or poor performance. And we got to bite the bullet. Sometimes you set out to do good, but everything don't happen as well. We have to remedy that. And that is to be completed. We're back out to the tendering process to get a contract engaged to finish that. We're going to move the airport staff that is housed in the present terminals right now into a new 4-story office building that is actively under construction across the road. You know what that means? All that space, that staff, 300 staff of the airport is occupying for offices will become available. We're bringing in new airlines. Avianca going to start just the other day, just in a couple of days, 1st of December. We are negotiating people from all over the world coming here to talk about traffic into Guyana. And I wouldn't name some of them because we are under negotiations, and it's better to keep it under wraps while you're negotiating. But Guyana is becoming a hub. We have signed agreements for two airport operators to help us with Terminal B. Terminal B means separate and distinct from what is there. People are talking to us about putting in a special terminal to deal with executive jets and executive travel because more and more people are coming here. The traffic has increased. We were the first to open our airport during COVID in the Caribbean. BWIA, or what we call Caribbean Airlines, is hosted in Trinidad. They couldn't work out of Trinidad. They worked out of Guyana because we opened. And we had nobody dying here because COVID don't travel through the airport. Because we had a plan of vaccination, we had a plan of prevention, we were able to, on sanitation and everything else, we were able to open our airport. So Freddie, construction, I went to New York not so long ago for a religious function. And when I landed, I had to jump in a bus and go to the other terminal. You know why? The airline that brought me up, that took me up, we couldn't disembark at their terminal. You know why? Construction is going on. Airport and construction around the world you're always improving. But what we have now is much, much, much better than what we had before. We got to improve the parking area, you know, the fuels that drop from the airport do corrode the soil. We got to get
the
those
operators say we have 2 minutes more. Infrastructure, let's talk about infrastructure. You're satisfied with what you're getting from all these roads and all these bridges?
I would say 90 to 95% yes. We do have the complaints of improper work, not being done, but Freddie, give it the volume of what we are doing. I mean, simultaneously with the contracts we have signed between Region 4, 5, 6, and 3, we have close to 2,000 projects ongoing currently.
Where is Heroes Highway eventually going to end?
Right now, the contracts to move from Diamond to Land of Canaan is at the procurement stage for execution. And from Land of Canaan all the way to the Sioux Lake Highway, a joint program between the Ministry of Housing and the Ministry of Public Works, it has been designed. It's going all the way out to the highway.
We're talking about what, 20, 26, 27?
Well, look at our delivery time and what is there. from the time we get the designs finalized and we get contractors engaged, 18 months to two years, we have that already done. Because remember, we do them in lots. So we don't give one big contractor to do everything we're going to struggle. We divide 5 lots, 6 lots. So you have 6 different contractors with capacity working simultaneously. And that's where we are.
I want to ask you, as we got a minute more, this garbage thing, is there an agenda by the Ministry of Public Works to forget about the incompetence of the city council and have a garbage policy?
Well, I would say it this way. We can't...
The city council and clean up this thing?
Well, it is beyond city council. Let me tell you what we're doing. We're clearing all the derelicts. We're clearing the parpets. We're cleaning the drains. Household garbage in a barrel is only thing that they have to handle. Across the city, all the parpets, for all the roads, on all the main thoroughfares, removing the mud, the debris, the old stove, the old washing machine. Public Works is doing that already. It's household garbage. The local authorities and city council got to do. They got to up the game. We have provided tractors to every NDC. They're going to soon be getting their own firefighting equipment, as you learned from the president in his address to the parliament. Capacity and management. Capacity and management. And in Georgetown, if, the mayor and his team should be very careful of how they say things about the Ministry of Public Works, because what they were supposed to be doing in Georgetown, everything we have been doing, because we can't leave the Georgetown people to suffer because of some incompetent administration or people who prefer to have different priorities of how they spend the money that they collect. The government comes in and takes care of it. Look at Georgetown. So household garbage, I can't pronounce on that because that's with the NDCs and the local authorities. But the cleanup, the president has led it from the front with cleanup days, but on a daily basis, we have the bobcats, the trucks. Look, there was a donkey that died on Mandela Avenue. That's a function of the city council, man. Pick up them things, remove it. This morning I had to go and engage people to do it because nobody can do it. And, we're not in a mode of looking and saying, y'all supposed to do, so we ain't doing. We're not in that mode. We're doing what we have to do to ensure the felt needs of the Guyanese people are addressed. We reduce the level of dissatisfaction, we improve the level of happiness and contentment, and ensure that we modernize and transform Guyana. So that's where we are.
We got to go. You're one of the main platforms of the PPP in the 2025 campaign.
I don't know that to be so as yet, Freddie.
I'm the analyst. Let me analyze politics. If after 2025 you have another area you'd like to go on, or you stay at Public Works? You like foreign affairs, education?
I will serve.
Affairs?
I will serve at the.
You don't think the police force need a no-nonsense?
I will serve at the president's pleasure, but I will tell you, Freddie, and all the people of Guyana, I'm an evergreen. I will be green in every season, like the evergreen trees that stay green in the storms and in the snow and in the winter months in America. I'll be evergreen no matter where you plant me. I will flourish.
But 2 things before we go. Our time has come. One is that I hope you're praying for me, because I know you're...
I'm praying for all the people of Guyana.
A sinner like me need to be saved.
Christ came to save the sinners.
When you were here the last time, I ended the program by asking you about this graphic thing that's in my eyes. And look, it's still in my eyes. That's a lot of gold.
Freddie, you've been admiring my gold since you know me before 1993. I never had
any real assets in my entire life. So I wouldn't mind a gold bank like that. I sell it in
I know someone who could help you, who have helped themselves. So
it's too late to help me at my age. Bishop Edghill, it's always a pleasure talking to somebody with a deep reach as you have. Thanks for being with us. As you would have seen, we had Bishop Juan Edghill, Minister of Public Works. He likes to have the A mentioned. It's Juan A. Edghill, Minister of the Cloth and Minister of the Government of Guyana. It's been quite enjoyable talking to him, and you can see from his delivery, he's in the campaign mood. We will see you on Friday. We will ask Bishop Edghill to come in another couple of weeks and do a call-in program with us. Thanks for being with us on behalf of Bishop Edghill. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Great.